lets you find quality candidates quickly so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
A group of Midwestern governors puts out a video on the coronavirus.
As many Midwestern governors announce new coronavirus crackdowns, several have come together.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Governor Andy Beshear.
Governor Tony Evers.
Governor Eric Holcomb.
Posting a video to social media urging people to be careful this holiday season.
Follow recommendations from medical experts.
Getting together with your family via Zoom.
Wear a mask, take it off when you eat or drink, then put it back on.
Keep 6 feet apart.
And wash your hands regularly.
Many of the governors continue strict virus mandates amid pushback over what some feel is government overreach. The governors also acknowledging encouraging news of a coming vaccine. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
California is into night number 1 of a month-long overnight curfew to limit the spread of coronavirus. It runs from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. local time and could be extended past the current December 21st end date if the infection rate isn't curtailed. And
if you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
A fully leveled up video game character marvels at how far he's come, and the milk rushing through a jug handle is having the time of its life. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, top executives from the U.S. financial sector announced they're about ready to ruin the world again. Representatives from all major banking and investment institutions said that more than enough time has passed since they last caused a major global economic meltdown, and confirmed they're pretty much fully prepared to bring about a brand new worldwide financial crisis.
We feel like we've given people enough time to get comfortable again. Consumer spending has increased. Housing market has rebounded. So yeah, we're all set to go ahead and ruin the global economy again.
And in other news, the perfect gift for a local man is unfortunately a gift certificate to Lowe's Cinemas. Mall shoppers look on in awe as a helpless 15-year-old girl is viciously torn apart by a pack of her peers. And a drunk pilot decides to pull over onto a cloud until he sobers up. You will now hear 3 gong strikes and a recitation of the great chant before being ushered to the hallowed garden. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome to the Sunday night edition of Free Talk Live. Who let this guy in here? What the hell's going on? Why am I here tonight? Oh, right, because Mark's not here. Tonight, I'll be your substitute Mark. And our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. As in freedom, you can join the conversation, take control of the airwaves, talk about whatever you'd like. In the studio tonight, I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me, it's
Beakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we are here to talk about all sorts of things. We've got a lot of stuff queued up, but of course, we will take your calls as well. We're going to kick this off with, and I can't help but laugh every time I read this. Is this a joke? New York Governor Cuomo wins Emmy for his televised coronavirus briefings. Twitter meltdown ensues. This is an award reserved typically for, well, actors, right?
Well, that lets you know what politicians really are.
Actors and actresses.
It's ugly Hollywood. It really is.
I've mentioned this before on the air, and I think I mentioned it maybe even last night or last week to a caller, and I pointed out that politicians, if you look, particularly ones who are, presidents or heads of state, prime ministers, right? Usually the big cheese. They all have teleprompters. They have to go through rigorous makeup routine before they will appear on any television broadcast of any kind or video broadcast. It's an overproduced thing, the likes of which are only akin to Hollywood. And one of my pet peeves on this planet is people treating politicians as if they're celebrities. Right, and they do this because they get the Hollywood treatment. They get the makeup, they get the television, they get the teleprompters. They have speech writers that are the greatest English writers that have ever existed. I don't know if that's true, but like they're pretty good writers who write their speeches for them. They stick to the talking points, and like they rarely ever talk off the cuff.
I've seen people treat politicians as like demigods. I've never seen anybody treat them as celebrities. Maybe I have known different people.
I think that's hitting the nail right on the head there. I mean, celebrities and politicians are treated as mythic figures, really. I mean, we talk about the religion of the state, and it's true. I mean, people have sacraments and rituals. The face diaper being the most popular current one, but the state is really treated as the source of virtue and goodness in the world. If that was not a bad thing, it wouldn't be illegal, is mostly how people think. And these individuals really are deific figures to them. I mean, especially Trump, honestly. Like the whole QAnon thing has been an absolute faith-powered movement.
Yeah.
But certainly not the only one. Everyone has their own special deities in their own world, but really that's how these people are treated.
Well, I was talking to some folks tonight at the governor's house. What did you say? You were at the governor's house, Captain?
The governor's house?
To the governor's house? Yes, I paid a visit to Snoo or Flununu, or however you say his name.
He prefers the term His Excellency.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and
so
I prefer the term Our Bogusness.
I thought people were just making fun of him until I started reading the emergency orders, and he actually puts that on stuff.
Yeah, it's on the letterhead.
I thought it was a joke.
I mean, yes, we are making fun of him, but we're making fun of him for calling himself His Excellency.
Yeah, but I thought we were just being smart, Alex.
It is based in fact, right? He does write every executive order from the office of His Excellency Governor Sanu. And he usually capitalizes it too, like as if he's yelling at you, like
the
all internet,
caps.
All
His
caps.
Excellency.
It is horrific. But I was at his house. Why was I at his house? Well, he didn't call me up and say, "Hey, Captain, come on over for a barbecue." Although we did roast him. That is true. There was a bit of a protest, I believe, for what is the first time in New Hampshire that I'm aware of, where a protest was held at the governor's house. So a whole bunch of people, one article said more than 100 people. I counted 70 at one point myself. There was quite a few people showed up to tell the governor sort of what we think of his statewide mask mandate.
And I got to say, that's something that I've been pushing for a long time, because if you're going to do a protest, you have to make life uncomfortable for the people making these decisions that you actually want to affect. If you show up at the State House, he's not going to care. If you show up at his house, he might care.
I'll tell you what, his neighbors cared. One of them on one side came out and was quickly shot down by a bit of, I wouldn't call it yelling, but some loud talking about, hey, we're totally within our rights. If you don't like it, F off, kind of a thing. And they certainly F'd off. So
well, and that's the thing. Like, if you are upsetting his neighbors, you are making life less comfortable for his decisions for him.
But anyway, my point was not to talk about going to the governor's house, which we can certainly talk about. I'm happy to tell the tale of what happened and what went down there. But we were talking about religion. Right? Because we're talking about the deification of these governors, these presidents, as if they are some sort of deity.
Well, and it is very similar to the deification that people have for celebrities.
It is.
And I mean, if you
That's what I mean by like getting the celebrity treatment. Like I don't like to deify celebrities either, right? Whether they're sports people or actors or whatever. Yeah, they might be good at their particular craft, but that doesn't net them. So, I'm not obliged to deify them in some way.
Yeah, you were on last night, and Jerome's just expecting that Ian knows who Trump's children are and which one is the one with peach fuzz or something like that. And that's the thing. People with celebrities and with politicians, especially the more notorious ones, they treat them as if they're actually in their lives. Like they know more about their families and what's going on in their lives than the people that they actually talk to
or
and
their
have
own
seen
lives
flesh
even.
and blood.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they know more about the lives of celebrities and politicians than they know about their own lives.
Well, so it makes sense to keep track of what politicians are doing because what they do can actually affect you. It does not make sense to keep track of what actors are doing unless you're producing films.
I'm with you a bit, like at least from our perspective, to keep track of politicians, but I don't really need to know like what school the youngest daughter goes to and when her birthday is. And
that's more of a vague threat to me than like if someone posted where your kid goes to school. That seems more threatening than worshiping to me.
Well, right, but I'm making the comparison between the politicians and the celebrities, right? Because there are people who are obsessed with celebrities as well, and they know what school the daughter of that celebrity goes to, and that kind of a thing. So people do the same thing to politicians. They treat the politicians and the celebrities in the same way, a way that to me feels ugly, and I believe that's what we're talking about. Is this deification?
Sure, the personal life might be something that is worth looking at. If after you've looked at policy, like after you've looked at, you, for example, tend to keep fairly well informed. So sure, after you've figured out what they're actually doing in their job, it might be useful to go, okay, well is your son a crackhead?
Not necessarily because, so two examples, John McAfee and Joe Biden. Okay, so John McAfee, he might have really, really good policies, but if he's tripping on acid half the time, I still don't want that in a position of power. Joe Biden, if he's saying, I can manage this country, even if he had policies I agreed with, if all you could turn out for a son is a crackhead, like a pedophile crackhead, like you got a problem and I don't want you managing everything because this is your work product. So it is...
I would still take John McAfee on acid over Joe Biden on whatever is in his.
But I would vote against. I would vote against John McAfee in like a LP primary based on the fact that he's on too many different drugs.
Well, I think the three of us would agree that it's probably in our best interest to lead ourselves. Who needs a president? Who needs a governor?
I don't have a big enough military to avoid that.
Their power grows from our attention. I mean, a big part of why Trump got elected is that the media could not stop broadcasting every single stupid, terrible thing that he did or said.
Well, he's an actor. He was acting. Genius. Thank you.
Look at all the free publicity he got. Millions of dollars worth.
There's another president in the past, in my life, who was also an actor. And, it seems a common thread, particularly with all the makeup and the teleprompters that I've mentioned already. It seems you must have a bit of acting talent in order to be president.
You mean he who calls himself the great communicator?
More Free Talk Live coming up, 855-450-3733.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Early Bitcoin wallets cashing in. Is Satoshi back? Investment expert Dr. Doom calls Bitcoin a store of value. Bitcoin Cash forks. Everything's fine. Bitcoin price surges above $18,000 US. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Free Bitcoin Cash when you download their wallet at bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to to invest and potentially do well, go to DiviProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DiviProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DiviProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by DJ Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Free Talk Live.
They have satellite image pictures of cities on the moon.
No, they
and
don't.
Of course yes, they do.
That's a load of garbage. I've never heard of any such thing. A quick Google search would reveal whatever these lame-o pictures are supposed to be, which, of course, you yourself have never done, right? You've never seen these alleged photos, correct?
No, but it's actually the...
Why would you go around saying that there are pictures of cities on the moon if you yourself have never seen them?
Well, because I heard it on a late night, 2 o'clock in the morning when I used to have that show here.
Yeah, you're talking about the overnight kook show?
Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast?
Yeah, they banned that show 5 years ago.
No, they didn't.
I used to say...
Who's they?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at MyMagicMud.com. FTL20 MyMagicMud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It is Free Talk Live. We've got some callers on hold. We'll get to you right away. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go there now and click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information neatly organized by your needs. There's no longer an excuse for ignorance of this important world-changing information. If you are a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com, where you can get the latest headlines of all the news relevant to you. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news on a slick and easy-to-use website. Visit Bitcoin.com. Let's go right away to your calls and thoughts. We have Brian calling from Washington. Brian, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, Brian. What's on your mind?
Okay, now I got a sign in front of me that says kids this time, so I don't use bad words.
Yes, please don't.
I sent you the website link on Twitch. We just held the Sasquatch Freedom Festival out here just south of Seattle. So it was a weekend-long event that was, maybe 10x times the governor's orders that went into effect on Tuesday.
Nice.
Congratulations on your civil disobedience.
Holy, yeah, it was crazy pulling it off. We don't want to talk about it a lot. So we used Freedom Cell Network. We used the Unloose the Goose group. It was an undisclosed location unless you were vetted, and then we only communicated cryptographically. So, in the midst of a lockdown, you got to keep it on the down low till the first one's done.
It's amazing. It's amazing to me, Brian, like how many freedom people have discovered that it is of the utmost importance to be sort of technologically savvy in order to be as free as you possibly can be. Do you find that to be the case?
Well, we didn't want to have to deal with any kind of state people, right? Because we were there to have a family event and a bonfire and grow networking and camp.
Nice.
Play Frisbee. All the crazy stuff that we do when we just be regular old humans. And it was a big agorist event, so there was a lot of trades for crypto, trades for all kinds of stuff. So we, our little flag, there's a porcupine on there as a hat tip to you guys back in New Hampshire. Little goose for the Unloose the Goose group.
Fantastic.
And we threw a Sasquatch with the AR on there for ourselves.
So you said you need to keep things on the down low until the first one's through?
Yeah, it's the first, it's called the Sasquatch Freedom Festival.
Gotcha.
For the Northwest, so we had a lot of Oregon folks, all over Washington. Some Alaskans came down.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the fact is we are in a war against human life. I mean, all of the things that make us human, throwing a Frisbee, sitting around a campfire, there is a war against that right now, and when you are in a war, you have to make sure that your enemy doesn't have access to your communication.
Yeah, so we ran it as a decentralized festival, right? So nobody was really in charge.
Nice.
There wasn't a published location. The one really great thing was all the people with kids that were leaving, where they got to spend an actual day like running with dogs, and oh my God.
That's amazing.
I am so happy to hear that, Brian, and thank you for the call tonight. I love to hear that people are, I hate to say rebelling. Today I had the epiphany that just standing around and breathing air outside with other people without a mask on is now an act of civil disobedience.
Right.
Just existing otherwise normally.
Like, you don't even have to tell the truth to be to be an enemy of the state these days.
Yeah, it's bizarre, man. We live in a bizarro time. Let's continue on with, we have Dave in New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. Well, there is some breaking news to report.
Some what news?
I guess at nh.gov that you can now see some of the legislation that has been proposed for this coming session. And as usual, there are free staters prominently featured in this list who are trying to roll back the government. And the one I thought that immediately caught my eye was this one. It doesn't have there's no name for the bill yet. I guess it's just called 2021-0212 temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't been written up completely yet, but it's been submitted to be written up in more detail. And it says, quote, repealing the prohibition on armed civilian groups, unquote. Mm-hmm. And it was sponsored by Free Stater state reps Michael Yakubovich and Tony Lekas, who I'm not positive Lekas is a Free Stater, but I think Yakubovich is.
Okay, so I'm not originally from New Hampshire. I've only been here for a year and a half. Tell me about why you would repeal a prohibition. prohibition against armed groups. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. So there is currently a prohibition against armed groups, militias, I assume?
I wasn't aware of one, actually, and I've lived here for 16 years. So
There is, they went way out of their way to not call it militias because obviously there is a Second Amendment right to a militia, right?
Yeah.
It is illegal to have I forgot the exact wording, but basically it's illegal to have unofficial military training or military, paramilitary groups and things like that.
Huh.
Which there was some discussion as to whether or not that would ever hold up.
I was going to say,
like, it's on
it's not Boy Scouts anymore, but the Scouts is still around. They're a paramilitary group.
Well,
I don't think they teach you, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they teach you, like, guerrilla warfare in the Scouts.
But they do in, like, say, paintball, for example, and I'm sure there's plenty of paintball in New Hampshire, isn't there?
They teach you military strategy in paintball?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Paintball is like two groups of dudes who each are kind of pretending they're a military on a different side, and then they are armed with paintball guns, and they do military maneuvers in order to capture the other person's flag. So it's capture the flag, if you're familiar with that game.
If it was actually just paintball, I don't think that would ever hold up,
But they do train in military maneuvers, including handling of firearms, and also military maneuvers such as flanking and all that kind of stuff. So they certainly do. And in fact, it's at least when I was in Washington State, the majority of paintballers that I was aware of were former military. So, guys who got out of the Army, Marines, et cetera, and so on, who still wanted to, use their military training in some way, shape, or form. And then eventually guys without military training would join their paintball group, et cetera, and so on. Dave, I know you had more to say. Do you want to hold on?
Oh, yes. Sure.
Okay, we'll keep you over and get back to you after we come back. This is Free Talk Live, the live Sunday night edition. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. I find it interesting that there is some sort of prohibition against organized military forces in New Hampshire. We'll have more coming up.
Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it. Wait
now. Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
I want to start a whole band with like no instruments, but just like the guitar, the rhythm guitar is like
called acapella.
And the bass player's all do do do.
So you want an acapella rock band?
I do, right? But I want I want mouth mimicking of the instruments.
You
right?
know, if they can do beatboxing on one style of music, then they should be able to do whatever that would be.
You get like a
on,
really good beatboxer, right? You know, do some, and then the guitar and the bass, and then a singer would actually sing. That would be the only like resemblance to a real rock band. But like a whole rock band where nobody has any instruments, it's just a bunch of microphones in front of like 5 people or something.
You know, if you want to do ska, I've seen some people that do a good mouth trumpet.
Rusty trombone. Oh, what kind of show are we listening to? Oh my gosh, what's going on? It is Free Talk Live. I forgot to mention that as we came back. The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450 free as in freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain,
Beakless Mountaineer,
and Melanie.
And we were talking about the statutes in New Hampshire that might have something to do with militias. Melanie, you have more.
Yeah, so RSA 111-15, entitled Armed Civilian Groups. No organization, society, club, post, order, league, or other combination of persons or civil group or any member thereof are authorized to assume any semblance of military organization or character by bearing or possessing rifles, pistols, sabers, clubs, or military weapons of any kind, or wearing a military uniform of any kind. A person violating any of these provisions of this section or taking part in such military organization shall be guilty of a misdemeanor if a natural person, or guilty of a felony if any other person.
Wow.
And any rifles, pistols, sabers, clubs, or other military weapons used in violation hereof shall be forfeited. And then this is weird. This section shall not apply to regularly constituted military units under the state or federal laws, and nothing in this section shall be construed as forbidding the possession and use of rifles for color guards or firing squad purposes, or the wearing of uniforms of a military character, although that's heavily regulated by federal law.
Well, I think we get the point. And Dave in New Hampshire is still with us. And Dave, I'm sure you're listening to all of that. How does that pertain to what you were calling about?
Well, I mean, one of the Free Staters has proposed a bill that would repeal that bill that you just quoted. I think that's the one they're referring to.
Okay, all right.
And the other thing is it's timely because if right now we just got a reminder of why you need to be able to gather up 5 buddies or 10 buddies or whatnot and defend your neighborhood if need be. It's not like that wasn't needed recently, right?
Where would it have been needed?
Oh, you mean defending the businesses that were being lit on fire recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was asking just, to have you give the answer, Dave, but that's okay. We have Peakless Mountaineer here to fill in the gaps for us.
Well, and that's such a weird thing, too, because, I can have a gun. You can have a gun. But we can't have guns.
Yeah, at what point do we become an organization? It's really broad, and what this is they've tried really, really hard not to use the word militia because they knew they couldn't use the word militia.
Because that's specifically provided for under the Second Amendment.
So, Dave, do you think this repealing of this is going to go through, or is this something that the Free Stater has proposed and you're not feeling particularly good about?
Actually, this year it might have a good shot because all 3 branches are controlled by Republicans who I suspect would tend to lean in favor of something like this.
And the legislator right now is not the one pushing through all of the issues.
All right.
All of the issues?
All these, we're having a bunch of bad things happen right now from the state, but it's not the legislator doing it.
So. Oh, you're talking about
the executive orders, right?
His Excellency.
The 75, whatever it is now, 80-something executive orders.
There is an obvious backlash in the legislature. You can just read it, and you can see it in these proposed bills. They're angry. Some of these bills have 10 or 12 co-sponsors, and but I'll call in separately about some of these other things they're trying to do to push back against the COVID restrictions.
I mean, they could end that easily because they could just repeal the statute authorizing executive orders.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else tonight, Dave?
That's all.
All right, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. That's Dave Ridley from the Ridley Report, everybody. Go ahead and Google the Ridley Report and find out more about what Dave does, because he does some cool stuff.
And I'm glad to see the legislators pushing back because, those of us who went to social studies class learned that there were 3 different
didn't
branches
they stop
of government.
social studies and rebrand it something like they?
It used to be civics. Then it got rebranded as social studies. I didn't know if it got rebranded
as
something else
now, but okay.
It might be. I mean, because civics was far too dangerous.
Ironically, when I was going to public school, we called it socialist studies, just to make. I mean, that's how long ago I've been doing parodies, right?
That's accurate.
So,
but yeah, I mean, these are supposed to be different functions. We're supposed to have one set of people that make laws and a different set of people that carry them out.
Yeah, but I could talk a whole bunch about that. But first, let's go to Larry in Indiana. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Well, when you get a state of emergency like this so-called pandemic, which have already been acted out under Dark Winter back in 2002, here's what happens is the governor takes control over all law enforcement. He has unabridged authority over all policing in the state, so he can order any sheriff or anybody in that state to do what he wants to do. But what I'm concerned about now is after they've got us on the hook on the holidays, don't go to your gatherings, don't do anything. Wear a mask at your, if you have 2 people in your home, well, what they're going to say is you were disobedient. That's why we got this huge upbeat in cases. And what we're going to have to do now, and we're going to start with the homeless people, that we're going to test them now. And if we find one person among the group of homeless people that is testing positive, well, we're going to quarantine the whole group, right? So this emergency model, state model Health Powers Act provides for quarantine camps. So after the holidays, you're going to start hearing about quarantine camps. And what they're going to do is they're going to use it first to get the homeless people off the street because it's going to be the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
And they're going to be forcing them in. And also the tracking that whenever you're in the presence of somebody who has had a positive test, they can lock you up or quarantine you for 14 days without notice. So
yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting, Larry. I've pointed this out to people who are so afraid of the pandemic, right? And I say to them, particularly in large cities, I'm from Seattle, I have some friends back there, and I go, have you seen a decrease in the homeless population? And they're like, well, no, there's more than there's ever been. I'm like, okay, where's the pandemic? Because if it was an actual pandemic, that homeless population would be hit hardest because they don't have the protections that unhomeless people or homed people, whatever the correct term for the rest of us is. They don't have homes, they don't have a regular doctor, et cetera, and so on. So you would see a decrease in those populations instead of staying the same or an increase.
Well, see, they don't care about those people because they already got them right. They're trying to create more homeless so that they can say by trapping, you have been around somebody who is positive, so you got to do 14 days. Your boss is not going to like that. You're going to end up homeless. So they want more homeless people. I just think that there's a larger situation going on here. You guys may disagree with me, but they are trying to bring this country down without firing one shot. And when Biden gets in there, he's going to let it go to the extreme.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Larry. We do appreciate it. I kind of agree with Larry. I think there is a bigger agenda, only because it's not just here in the United States. It's globally.
And I think there's going to be a lot more homeless people coming soon with all the lockdowns.
855-450-3733 is our number. You can join us. We'll talk more about this and some other stuff coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com. When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hello! Welcome back to Free Talk Live. I don't know why I'm talking like this all of a sudden. It must have been the mention of Doctor Who while you guys were listening to our sponsors. Must have been.
Yeah, we were talking about totalitarian governments, and there's an episode where they sort of handle that one in the old David Tennant.
Yes. Doctor Who, the longest-running science fiction series of all time. That's pretty impressive. At any rate, this is Free Talk Live. We are a bunch of nerds, or at least I am anyway. I don't know about you. Our toll-free number, if you'd like to join us, is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. Joining you or me or us in the studio, it's
Bakeless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And I am your host, the Lord Reverend Captain Kickass. I'm a man of many titles, so it seems. And you can join us. We're going to go straight away to Eric in Pennsylvania. Eric, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind tonight?
These lockdowns are getting ridiculous, you know? Pretty soon they're
amen.
gonna say,
Amen, brother.
Pretty soon they're going to say, freeze, drop the turkey. That's an illegal turkey. Or freeze, drop the Christmas gift, because we can't have Christmas, we can't have Thanksgiving, you know?
You can't have a turkey that serves more than 10 people.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're going to lock down harder on Christmas than they did on Thanksgiving, because there's so little pushback on this.
Yeah, it's going to be like, that's an illegal Christmas tree, huh? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
And with this COVID-19 vaccine, it could be the mark of the beast. So I'm not going to be a guinea pig for vaccines. I was in the military, and I took vaccines, and they screwed me up already, you know, and messed me up, you know?
Yeah, and we've covered it here that they have done a lot to like strip away what few amounts of accountability for the vaccine makers we had. I mean, there's not much at all, and they stripped those away for this one.
At this point, like I am somebody who, if there is a vaccine for a thing, I'm going to go get it. There's ones that exist they told me I can't have because I asked, but I'm about to not get this one just out of spite. Like, even after it is fully developed, like, just out of spite, I'm gonna be like, no. It's like you didn't start with this. You started with take my job away. So, like, I guess you can deal with it.
Are you gonna get the vaccine, Eric?
Probably not. And another thing, these lockdowns. You see, Governor Newsom locked down California. The governor of Pennsylvania here, Tom Works, wants to lock down Pennsylvania, and Governor Cuomo will probably lock down New York, you know?
Oh, you know it. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Eric. We appreciate it. Yeah, the lockdowns are insane, and we'll talk more about that. But I wanted to tell you that I know you've heard us talk about Divi here on Free Talk Live, and maybe you've wanted to set up one of their easy-to-deploy masternodes or stake Divi so that you can begin earning Divi right now. Ian Freeman says setting up a Divi masternode was super easy and staking was even easier. We are not investment advisors here on Free Talk Live, but we think you will be impressed with your earning potential with a Divi. as compared to traditional investment vehicles. Go to diviproject.org and get started. You can buy Divi at several exchanges or directly from the Divi team. If you need help, there is a link to their Telegram channel right on the front page at diviproject.org. That's DIVI project.org.
And I wonder if we're going to be headed for a national lockdown once Biden gets in, assuming that happens.
Well, he's already said that he will call for a mask mandate nationwide.
So a mask mandate, and I wonder if he's going to couple it with a lockdown to just destroy everything.
Well, I don't see why not, specifically because we seem to see most of the governors calling for statewide mask mandates. I mean, New Hampshire was one of the last ones where it wasn't a statewide thing. It was up to each individual city and that kind of a thing to do or not do, whatever they did. And there wasn't a whole lot of it as far as the mandates were concerned. There were plenty of people masking up because they're afraid, but it wasn't mandated up until recently.
And by all means, if you're concerned, go ahead. Just don't make me do it.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that bothers me the most is that for the first time, otherwise healthy, normal people are being treated as if they're sick.
And I mean, look, honestly, I hate these things more than most people, and I would still probably wear one if I started coughing around. Like, just to put people at ease, honestly. But I'm not. I'm not coughing. I'm healthy. You don't treat people that are healthy the same way you treat people that are sick.
Did either of you wear a mask ever before, say, March of this year?
As a kid at Mardi Gras, but that's a totally different thing.
Okay. So
basically, no.
So through all of the other, we'll call them biological threats that have been presented to us by, well, say the media, for example, SARS and swine flu and pig flu or whatever the other flu, the bird flus and the avian and the H1N1 and all that stuff. Through all of that.
Never in my life.
No.
No. Now, I know that there was some historical reference to, like, the Spanish flu, where there was some masking going on. There was something called, I think it was called, like, the Anti-Mask League or something along those lines. I think there was a band called the Anti-Mask League that was named after the Anti-Mask League of the Spanish flu. But that was, like, the only time in history I can find where, like, folks were, like, donning the masks because they thought it might help. But even the science back then was like, it didn't really help.
And it doesn't.
Oh, we've covered that by and large.
But, I mean, that like we were talking earlier about how politicians aren't human beings in the minds of most people. They are godlike figures. They are these demi-deific things. And
it's worse
in the
than
same
that,
way,
Peakless. It's worse than that. They're actors.
Well, we knew that. But that's the thing. In the same way, these masks are exactly like crossing yourself. It's a religious ritual that people do in order to attempt to protect themselves. Like there's no mechanism, there's no scientific
that the people do in the
exactly.
I got you.
Except that there's no medical downsides to that. Like it's not going to do anything, but it's
there's
not
also no laws
you.
requiring me to do it.
What, is that gentrification? Is that no? I think that's a genuflection. That's the
genuflection.
Word. Yeah, that's the word I'm thinking of.
But yeah, I mean,
gentrification.
It really is the same as if there was a nationwide or statewide mandate that everyone must cross themselves X number of times a day.
5 Hail Marys, you're good to go.
Right, exactly. Like a state mandate that everyone must say 5 Hail Marys per month or what have you.
All right, so speaking of politicians being actors, we started off the first segment of the show with this article. It's coming to you from RT.com. Is this a joke? New York Governor Cuomo wins Emmy for his televised coronas briefings. Twitter meltdown ensues. Twitter has popped a fuse after learning that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo will receive an Emmy for his televised coronavirus briefings, pointing to his state's high death toll and Cuomo's spotty record on transparency. The Democrat was selected for the honor, usually reserved for individuals in the television industry, quote, in recognition of his leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic and his masterful use of TV to inform and calm people around the world, unquote.
And I got to admit, he did a masterful job. I mean,
Did he?
made a book off of this thing. Like, he had if you look at a map of the lethality of this thing, like, it's sort of pink everywhere and just dark red in New York.
Well,
like
isn't that because they sent a bunch of infected people into the old folks' homes?
Yeah, exactly. And New York City, like, if you take the top 5
So dude gets an Emmy
population
for
cities
sort of
in
killing
the
people?
world, like, add them all together, they still don't even start to touch what happened in New York. And he gets awards for this.
Yeah,
he
that's
sells
sickening.
a book for this. He gets reelected. I mean, you got to give the devil his due. He is doing an amazing job of BSing us.
I have so many problems with this quote. In recognition of his leadership, first of all, politicians are not leaders. If you follow them as a leader, then there's something wrong with you. If you need a leader, there are plenty of other people in the world who you could follow that are far superior human beings to politicians. His masterful use of TV, perhaps, to inform and calm people around the world?
Well, when I say inform, I mean that I'm going to take my form and put it in you.
Well, if Sununu is the governor of Mass, then I guess Como can be the governor of the world.
You mean New Hampshire? Sununu?
No, he is under the impression that he's the governor of Mass.
Oh, that's true.
He does.
He is
act as
acting
though,
like a
yeah.
masshole. That's true.
Yeah,
Well, not even just his behavior in general, but he's even said, I'm gonna do what they do, and
we've been mostly
follows
lockstep with him.
what they want. It's like, well, you don't work for them.
Monkey see, monkey do.
It's like you go live in Mass if that's what you want to do. But
Yeah, the statewide mask mandate was one of the only things that they did that we didn't. And nope.
Sununu has gone full derp.
Full derp.
That's disappointing. I was not aware that he was out to, and he's being led himself then. So he's not even being a leader. He's just copying what other people do, and other people are going, oh, thank you, fearless leader. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A new weapon in the fight against COVID-19. I'm Sal Giangrasso, Fox News. The Food and Drug Administration yesterday approved
the emergency use of a second antibody drug to help fight the COVID-19 virus. The drug is intended for adults and children 12 and over who are considered high risk. It's a cocktail of 2 monoclonal antibodies and was designed specifically to fight the virus that causes COVID-19. Tests are continuing, but early results suggest it may prevent people in the hospital and emergency room visits.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. She's running in January's Georgia runoff election, but Senator Kelly Loeffler is quarantining after receiving mixed results from recent coronavirus tests. Loeffler's campaign says she doesn't have symptoms and is following CDC guidelines and informing those with whom she was in direct contact. President Trump's campaign is requesting a recount of votes in the Georgia presidential race, even though state officials certified results Friday. Democrat Joe Biden won the state by a tiny 0.25%, and Georgia law allows a candidate to request a recount if the margin is less than 0.5%. Negotiations continue on a bipartisan defense spending bill.
Congressional negotiations continue this weekend on a bill to authorize more than $740 billion in defense spending. But those talks hinge on only one point of contention, whether lawmakers will order the Pentagon to rename installations that commemorate Confederate leaders. President Trump threatened to veto the annual defense bill if it orders such changes. Both the House and Senate, with veto-proof majorities, have already passed separate versions of the spending authorization containing directives and deadlines to change the names. There are 10 Army posts that carry the names of Confederate leaders. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
A group of Midwestern governors puts out a video on the coronavirus.
As many Midwestern governors announced new coronavirus crackdowns, several have come together.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Governor Andy Beshear.
Governor Tony Evers.
Governor Eric Holcomb.
Posting a video to social media urging people to be careful this holiday season.
Follow recommendations from medical experts.
Getting together with your family via Zoom.
Wear a mask. Take it off when you eat or drink. Then put it back on.
Keep 6 feet apart.
And wash your hands regularly.
Many of the governors continue strict virus mandates amid pushback over what some feel is government overreach. The governors also acknowledging encouraging news of a coming vaccine. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
California is into night number 1 of a month-long overnight curfew to limit the spread of coronavirus. It runs from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. local time and could be extended past the current December 21st end date if the infection rate isn't curtailed. And if you
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
It's The Onion Radio News. God loses his decision-making coin. This is Doyle Redland reporting. The Lord God has confirmed that he has misplaced his special decision-making coin. The coin, a relatively unremarkable 1972 nickel, has been used almost daily by the Supreme Being for over 4 billion years for the purpose of determining everything from the direction of the wind to the outcome of history. The visibly distraught God added,
I have no
idea where I put it. I remember flipping it last night for a couple in Monroe, Michigan who were trying to conceive a child, but I haven't seen it since.
God also said he hopes to locate the coin before 7:15 Thursday morning when United Flight 251 takes off from Seattle with actress Dixie Carter on board. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yes, welcome back. Here in the second hour of Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk show where you can take control of the airwaves. You can talk about anything you want. It's called Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Bigless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we were talking about this article from RT.com, which states the governor of New York, Cuomo, has won, apparently, an Emmy. Going to be presented this thing tomorrow, apparently, November 23rd.
Now, I wonder if this is going to be a new category.
This is just more of the insanity of treating these politicians in a deific, a deity way, or like, as I like to say, like celebrities. All right, like celebrities, okay, you know, they're beautiful people, they're terrific actors, you know, whatever it is, they throw down on film.
And the nominees for authoritarian statist are...
Yeah, right, exactly, you know. Are they also going to go Golden Globes, too? Or, you know, what's the other one? Grammys? No, I guess they'd have to do a recording to get a Grammy.
Yeah,
They do recordings.
They do recordings.
Not of music.
Right, but like
Usually.
somebody could put out an album of like, you know, Donald Trump's greatest frumps or something, right? Like all the times he slipped up or whatever. That could be an album. He could win a Grammy for that, I reckon. I said reckon, like I'm from the South. I reckon they could make a whole album of Trump slip-ups. Sorry.
I'd listen to it.
Would you?
I absolutely would. I mean, for better or for worse, Trump has absolutely been one of the most entertaining politicians ever.
The New York governor said it was flattering to be chosen as an Emmy winner and said he would accept the award on behalf of all New Yorkers. All New Yorkers weren't given the award, Mr. Cuomo.
On behalf of my audience, I accept this award for BSing them.
He just does not care. Like that was really clear back in March, or I think some states locked down before March, but he just does not care, not only about, you know, righteousness and freedom, but about just anything.
Human life. Yeah. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he starts making a bid for even higher positions off of his terrible job of running New York during this crisis.
Of course, he, you know, failing upwards is the mantra of, well, all things politics, right?
Yep.
But not everyone shared in his delight. Social media users asked aloud whether the announcement was a joke, with several comments saying that they thought the tweet was from the satirical news site The Babylon Bee, or The Onion, or something.
I gotta say, when I first saw this headline, that is what I thought. I immediately checked, and I'm like, "What? What
is this Onion? Is it Babylon Bee? What is it? You know, yeah. Is it Mad TV? We don't know. It is Mad TV, that's for sure, but not in the way you think. In the actual that it's madness on your television. Cuomo has been one of the most controversial public figures during the coronavirus crisis, garnering both praise and condemnation for his response to the pandemic.
Which is amazing to me that he's gotten praised for this thing.
Many people pointed to the fact that among U.S. states, New York has the second highest COVID-19 death rate per 100,000 people, arguing that it was hard to take accolades praising his leadership seriously. Well, of course it was hard because, well, I kind of feel like he's responsible.
Well, it turns out leading people off a cliff is laudable.
Did you just compare Cuomo to the Pied Piper?
Well, I was trying for lemmings, but
the Pied Piper had a legitimate debt. He took it out on innocent third parties, but at least he had like a legitimate gripe where Cuomo was just like, I want your stuff.
How do I kill people? I've got it. I'll send people with this new virus into their most vulnerable population. They'll give me an award for this.
They list the top 6 number of deaths per 100,000 people. New Jersey, 188. New York, 176. Massachusetts, 151. Connecticut, 135. Louisiana, 133. Mississippi, 122. So, yeah, definitely the number 2 in most deaths per 100,000 people. Getting an award for it. The governor's administration advisory to place COVID-positive patients in nursing homes was used by numerous observers to underscore the absurdity of the Emmy announcement, which I believe we have successfully also done here this evening. Cuomo has even been accused of lying about the decision, which has been blamed for causing numerous deaths among the elderly.
Wait, a politician lying?
Yeah, go figure. That would never happen.
About something that's falsifiable, you can just look up the order. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but nobody looks. We look, but nobody else looks. We look.
Wait,
But you have a computer. You can just pull this rectangle out of your pocket, and anything that people know, you can find out.
It's an amazing device. If only more people knew about it.
I gotta say, that is one thing that has generally astonished me, beyond Cuomo alone, but politicians in general have not updated their form of lying. Because, like, people can say, well, didn't you say such and such? I never said that, and we can go to the clip.
And then there's like a video of you saying that in front of a camera.
So government is always slowest to adopt change because of what they are, an organization of violence and force, right? So take email, for example. Back in the day, nobody knew what email was. They didn't know what an @ sign was in the email address, right? Television talk shows would go, do you know what is this? What's this symbol here? You know, it's the @ sign. Oh, what's an email? What do you got? What do we need email for? I could just write a letter, right? So government was far behind in adopting email as a technology. It wasn't until all of the tech corporations did it and some tech guys who like made a bunch of money became buddy-buddy with like some political types. And they were like, dude, you don't have email? What's wrong with you? Why doesn't the government? And then like they got government contracts to get them email. And so now there's a bunch of tech companies that have cash cows in providing these services to the government.
Well, I mean, to paraphrase Paul Krugman, I'm sure that the internet will be no more of a ripple than the fax machine.
Right. If only there were a device in which you could look up anything in all of human knowledge. If only that device fit into your pocket. In fact, the Associated Press reported that nursing home deaths have been cloaked in secrecy, quote unquote, under Cuomo's award-winning leadership. Award-winning leadership. What am I reading?
It sounds like it's written in North Korea.
Amid the mounting criticism, Cuomo later issued an order requiring hospitals not to discharge patients to nursing homes without getting a COVID negative test first.
Well, I guess I've killed enough people to tell you to stop. As long as I get a book deal out of this.
There's a picture of a tweet here in this article, and it says, Dr. Kevorkian would be proud. Assuming they're ripping on Cuomo here. Quote, killing thousands of seniors earns him a leadership award. Imagine if others followed in his footsteps or leadership, opined one outraged Twitter user. Others made the case that there were plenty of examples of when Cuomo was less than soothing or informative during his briefings on the health crisis.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, are we encouraging the rest of our leaders to, quote unquote,
I mean,
leaders?
maybe that is the thing. Like, nursing homes are expensive and a lot of them are paid for by Medicaid. So maybe it was like, hey, good job, yo. Like,
it's some sort of like backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for taking out all the grandmas. You've saved us tons of money. Earlier this week, he lashed out at reporters who pressed him about New York City's public school system closing due to coronavirus, telling members of the media, I don't really care what you think. What a great leader, huh? I don't care what you think, people.
I mean, I got no problem telling the media I don't care what they think, but if you're going to make decisions on behalf of other people, you should justify them.
If you're not acting, quote unquote, as if you're a leader, then saying that generally isn't going to get you reelected. During another briefing, he mocked a confused journalist for expressing frustration over confusing lockdown rules, telling him that everyone else understands the regulations.
Doubt.
Wow.
So I just wonder, did he have to get a haircut to kill so many grandmas?
Well, you got to look good when you're busy murdering, the most hundreds of people. Right?
I don't know, man. He's good at it. He might have done it even without the haircut.
It's like, hey, did you murder a bunch of people? Well, I looked good doing it. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's all important. 855-450-3733. We've got your calls and thoughts and more Free Talk Live coming up.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Early Bitcoin wallets cashing in. Is Satoshi back? Investment expert Dr. Doom calls Bitcoin a store of value. Bitcoin Cash forks. Everything's fine. Bitcoin price surges above 18,000 US dollars. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Free Bitcoin Cash when you download their wallet at bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the value soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Come on! Shaman. That's a Michael Jacksonism. Not that we, enjoy quoting Michael Jackson, but he did a lot of weird, we'll call it scat type sounds in his music, like Mama say, Mama Sama Makasa. That was one of them. Shaman was another one. Yeah.
That I don't know. That sounds like a password to a boys only clubhouse to me.
I mean, it was Michael Jackson, so it's likely that actually was the case. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number. That's 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can join us in the conversation. Talk about anything you'd like. We've got your calls and thoughts coming up. Joining me in the studio tonight, it's
Bigless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And I am your host tonight, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Everyone has their own idea of what freedom is. For some, freedom is the freedom to swing free like the Scotsmen do. Richie Rich and Mark got themselves some great kilts from sportkilt.com. You can even see our hosts wearing sport kilts, particular form of freedom, at kilts.freetalklive.com. You haven't felt freedom until you've worn a kilt from sportkilt.com. Yes, there are many kinds of freedom. Let's go right away to your calls and thoughts. We have Jerome from South Carolina. Jerome, what's on your mind?
I'm not wearing a dress, okay? A kilt is just it's a dress, all right?
But are you wearing a face diaper?
It is not a dress. It is a skirt, but a military skirt.
Right. Yeah, right.
No, it absolutely is a military skirt.
Yeah, but I'm still not wearing it. I'm not wearing that.
I mean, that's fine.
I believe that you have the right to wear or not wear what you choose. Would you be willing to grant me some of that, maybe around the face area?
Hey, if you want to look, that's a lot different, man. That's protecting people.
Not really. I mean,
what's a kilt protecting you from?
What is a kilt protecting me from? Actually, there are numerous diseases and disorders associated with too tight of underwear.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Wrapping your jimmies up too tight is definitely associated with many different disorders. There, Jerome.
Yeah,
as you snort into the phone,
among others. So.
Yeah, you got to protect them dingleberries.
I think you and I have a different definition of that word. What were you calling about tonight, Jerome, other than snorting in the phone?
No, but hey, you were talking about Trump. I said, hey, has the disease left the White House? No, we got a guy on the radio here. His name's Charlie James.
I don't remember us talking about Trump, actually.
Hey.
We briefly mentioned that you could make an entire Grammy-worthy album of
that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
The silly things that he says.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jerome. I interrupted you.
It would be an embarrassment if it was. Hey, no, I want him to make a record of Trump's dumbest comments, like when he told Bob Woodward, "Hey Bob, you listening? The virus is really bad. It's really dangerous." And then gets out in front of the public and says, "Oh, this is a Democratic hoax, man. This is going to go. It's going to go." When he does like that guy Kenneth Copeland, the preacher, who's like blowing the virus away, and then he tell the doctor, "Yeah, maybe we can use bleach on it, huh? Yeah, that'll be a good idea. Or the virus is going to disappear." And then magically, all of a sudden, he gets the virus. His wife gets the virus. His young brat son gets the virus. Now his oldest son's got the virus.
Got to make you feel good, huh, Jerome?
Oh, yeah, and I mean, it killed him. It killed him dead. I mean, he was in the bed for weeks and then died. Oh, yeah. Or the other thing.
His chief of staff got the virus. We got other people in the White House to work around, got the virus.
Yeah, that's what happens with viruses. Colds, flus. Yeah. This is what happens. People get sick and then live.
I guess Fauci was an idiot when he told him, "Hey,
he sure was.
You shouldn't be holding these rallies." Okay?
Wait, what do you mean was? What do you mean Fauci was an idiot?
That's a good point.
Yeah, because he said, "Oh, these doctors are idiots." I guess those 25 doctors that saved his miserable, God-forsaken life when he caught it, those are idiots too, huh?
Sure.
Hello.
Well, and
can I have
so
an
you
answer?
say it would be an embarrassment to have a collection of what he says. Well, only if you associate yourself with these horrible crooks. See, I don't associate myself with what these terrible people say, so I'm not embarrassed when they make fools of themselves.
I think that
I just want to know. You know what I want to know? Why is it that when Republicans lie, it seems 70-something million people voted for this clown, man? What are they listening to? I mean, what are they? Jim Jones,
Jerome,
disciples from the Jim Jones.
Jerome, they all lie. It's not just Republicans. They all lie. All politicians lie. It's you who doesn't recognize that.
Hey, but you know what? I live in a
religious
Republican
devotion.
state, okay? I live in a Republican state. And Lindsey Graham, this guy get up and, I mean, he went up one side and down the other of Trump when they were campaigning, and now he's his bosom buddy.
So why don't you move to California? Then you will live in a Democratic state, and you will absolutely love what Nancy Pelosi does.
No. What about the governor going to a damn wedding, like taking the mask off, and he's quarantining people? He's unreliable too. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, pick your blue state if you like those better.
Yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. He's a terrible person. He's completely hypocritical. He refuses to follow the orders that he is forcing under threat of violence on other people, and he's a Democrat. And guess what? All the Democrats are like that, and so are the Republicans.
Hey, Jerome, thank you for the call tonight. We appreciate it. I just had this, and I've never met Jerome. I don't know what he looks like. I have this funny vision of him wearing a kilt with a picture of Donald Trump in front of him while he's, pleasuring himself.
Jerome isn't the type of person we get those kind of pictures from.
You're right. Jerome, nothing but love. Thanks for the call. We appreciate you. Going back to the article, earlier this week, apparently Cuomo...
Before we go back into the article, could you just say the title of it one more time?
Of the article?
Yeah.
I can. Is this a joke? New York Governor Cuomo wins Emmy for his televised coronavirus briefings. Twitter meltdown ensues. I know, it is funny. Politicians.
It's Poe's Law. I mean, really, you can't tell the difference between satire and reality.
Now, I mean, how bad is it that a politician wins an award normally reserved for actors? Now, is this a statement of how good an actor the politician is, or is this more of a...
Well, I think they're admitting that
Hollywood isn't so good anymore.
I think they're admitting that politicians are actors. That's all they are. That's all they ever were. They're not leaders. They're not these, bastions of making the world a better place. They're lying to you. They're playing roles that you want to see so that you can feel better about the world that you live in that they make.
Yes. Well, earlier this week, Cuomo lashed out at reporters who pressed him about New York City's public school system. We already covered that part. We'll get to the rest of this article. You can join us, 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, like freedom, and join in the conversation here on Free Talk Live. We've got more for you coming up.
Pork chop, his coat is very thick. He's an Akita, German Shepherd, Lab, Husky mix. Harold, the Border Collie Pit mix, has the most beautiful jet black coat. Stuart, my rat terrier, has fur now where he never had it before.
DINOVITE.com.
Dinovite will give them a beautiful, lustrous coat. It will make you smile.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
USA Radio News with Dan Naraki.
Despite pleas from public health officials, Americans are hitting the road for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. On Friday, more than 1 million passengers traveled through the nation's airports, the second highest daily passenger count since the beginning of the pandemic. Dr. Anthony Fauci says those crowds concern him. He tells CBS's Face the Nation that a post-Thanksgiving...
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. You can call in, take control of the airwaves, talk about anything that's on your mind, anything we've been talking about tonight, anything we've talked about in the past, or perhaps you're clairvoyant and you're going to talk about something we'll talk about.
Well, if you start calling in with it,
if
you start calling in with it, we will talk about it in the future.
That is correct. In the studio tonight, it is myself, the captain.
Bakeless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And let's just quickly go to finish up this article, if my mouse will cooperate with me. This it will. This article from RT.com. Governor Cuomo of New York is apparently being presented an Emmy Award for his acting during the coronavirus pandemic. For his, I don't understand why he would.
He acted like not a terrible governor.
Like a tyrant?
Yeah.
Still, several people said that the Emmy was well-deserved. One Twitter user accused the governor's detractors of being jealous, while another observer said Cuomo has been America's rock during the pandemic. I have a quote here from a Twitter user, Brooks BCA. Well deserved. He's been America's rock during the pandemic. I woke every morning to watch the daily briefing.
Well, and that really does tell you all that you need to know. Like, these are the people that others worship. They worship them. They go to them to be it's what they tie themselves back to, which is literally what religion means to tie yourself back. It's you are my certainty. You know, I mean, for plenty of people, it's God is the one thing that I can rely on in life while everything changes. I mean, Jesus is literally called the Rock of Ages, and now Cuomo.
Yeah, certainly achieving deity status by, well, in some people's view, like that particular Twitter user. Doing what we do here on Free Talk Live, let's go to your calls and thoughts. Let's go to
offshore
Carl. You're on the air.
Oligarch.
Hey, Carl.
Portfolio.
Hey, Carl. You're on the air.
That includes energy.
Carl.
Arrangements.
Hey, Carl. Can you hear me?
That are
hey,
contrary
Carl.
to the country's national.
All right. Thanks for the call, Carl. Oh, that guy was fun. At first, I thought he was reading off like his 12-word seed phrase for his crypto wallet. Start writing those words down real quick.
I'm curious what he wanted to talk about, but
he was talking.
We passed like ships in the night.
The other thing he wasn't doing, I guess we should say this. It seems like we shouldn't have to say this on a talk radio show where we invite you to be part of the conversation, is that it is a two-way street. You know, you should say something, we should say something, you should say something, we should
and preferably
conversation
about
works.
What the other person said or somehow related to what you were saying. Yeah.
Also, you know, regular human niceties are generally appreciated. Like, hello, you're on the air. Hey, guys, how are you? Great. How are you? What's on your mind, right? You know, that kind of a thing, right? You know, at least acknowledge that you're listening and participating in the conversation. Don't appear to be reading whatever it is might be in front of you when we put you on the air, please and thank you. We don't have many rules, and I won't say that those are rules, but those are just, what should we call them? It's a good word. Anyone? Bueller?
Suggestions,
customs.
Guidelines,
We have
yeah,
customs. And that really is one of the important things of the libertarian mindset is, well, what will you do without all of these laws being enforced by these government brutes? Well, we have customs. Like, there are sets of expectations, and if you don't meet those expectations, you won't have the voluntary association of people around you. Like, oh, well, what are you going to do about dog beaters? Not give them stuff in exchange for their money, because they creep me out.
Yeah, indeed. Peakless Mountaineer, did you have something Biden-related that you wanted to talk about?
I did. I wanted to talk about the Biden COVID advisor. This is from CNBC. Biden COVID advisor says U.S. lockdown of 4 to 6 weeks could control pandemic and revive economy.
So wait a minute. That sounds like you're telling me that this guy, Biden, who most people consider the president-elect, is saying that he's going to lock down the U.S. for 4 to 6 weeks?
It sounds like it. At least that's what his advisor wants.
Now we know from the current state of lockdowns since March and all the governors and what it has done to the economy, I fail to understand the last part of that headline where it says, and revive economy. How does 4 to 6 more weeks of useless lockdowns revive the economy, which of course was tanked because of the lockdowns?
Well, so you see here, have you ever seen Fifth Element?
Multipass, yes,
okay,
I have.
Yeah. So Gary Oldman does an amazing job, and he has this little speech about how, it's what's called the broken window fallacy, where, see, if we get a bunch of people to, say, overdose on drugs and alcohol and shoot themselves in the head and things like that, well, that just generates revenue from all the people that we have to bury, and that is good for the economy. I mean, that's how it works, right?
Right, so we create jobs by killing more people.
Exactly. The more people you kill, the better the... Wait.
Because people need to clean up all the dead people. Is that what you're saying?
Honestly, that is the only interpretation of this that makes any sense to me.
Well, go on with your bad self.
All right. Shutting down businesses and paying people for lost wages for 4 to 6 weeks could help keep the coronavirus pandemic in check and get the economy on track until a vaccine is approved and distributed, said Dr. Michael Osterholm, a coronavirus advisor to President-elect Joe Biden.
And being a doctor does not in any way qualify you to make that statement.
Well, don't you know that doctors know everything? I mean, if you receive a medical degree, you automatically know everything about economics and sociology, and you can make decisions about, well, see, this is worth going out for. This is worth the risk. That is not worth the risk. Going to your grandmother's funeral when I get her killed, that's not worth the risk. But protesting racism, that's worth the risk.
Is this Osterholm guy supposed to be like Biden's Fauci?
That may well be.
I know
Osterholm,
you
who
probably,
serves as director of the Center of Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, said earlier this week that the country is headed toward, quote, COVID hell, unquote.
H-E double hockey sticks.
Dun, dun, dun. Seems to me that, say, destroying all of the small businesses and the medium-sized businesses in the country, making sure that anyone who, owns any property doesn't get any rent for any period of time, utterly hollowing out the middle class, that seems like more of a COVID hell.
Seems like it to me.
But no, it's fine because we'll give you money. As long as we pour money on the problem, it will get better.
Even though if everything's closed, I don't know what you're going to do with that money, but...
That's true.
Well, I'm sure we'll keep essential services open, right?
Well...
With magic.
Yeah, I really do. Like, all these folks who have been called essential, I mean, to me it seems like another word for slave, right? They haven't been given really a break. You know what I mean? They've McDonald's workers, right? McDonald's across the country, none of them have closed that I'm aware of. Maybe some of them have, but I'm not aware of any.
I think it's profoundly insulting to everyone who's not on the list. We don't need you. You're not essential.
Yeah. Medical care workers, home health aides, all that, they're not essential, but McDonald's employees gotta have the hamburgers, man.
Right?
855-450-3733. We'll talk more about this and more. Plus, we'll get to your calls and your thoughts here on Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our made in the USA microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part? Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live. We are here. This is where we are. And I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me tonight, it's
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
Our toll-free number, if you would like to join us, is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Been talking about this article from CNBC. A Biden COVID advisor says U.S. lockdown of 4 to 6 weeks could control pandemic and revive the economy. Yes, the very thing that has tanked the economy, not only of the U.S., but around the globe, economies of many places. Yes, if we just lock down harder, somehow that's going to revive the economy.
I can't believe you almost called it MSNBC. That leftist rag has nothing on the integrity and efficacy of CNBC.
What's the difference between MSNBC and CNN? One's Microsoft owned and one's, I don't know, what's the C for Canadian?
Dude, I can't tell the difference between MSNBC and CNN.
I think it's Canada NBC, I believe is the C. I'm not sure. Why would CNBC be posting an article about Biden? Whatever, I don't know.
Because this was in Minnesota.
Where were we? We were in COVID hell, I believe.
Yes, COVID hell. Yeah, and so the first point here is obviously he's conflating a lockdown with giving us money. So, I mean, here's the thing. If they hadn't destroyed monetary policy just a little over 100 years ago, we would have plenty of money. So here they are giving us a little crumb, just a little taste of what it would be like if we had some purchasing power. And somehow that is the exact same as a lockdown, in the same way that, all of our businesses got destroyed by the virus.
Yeah, I know. I love how everybody blames the virus for the economy tanking. This is not true. If you're listening, the virus did not destroy the economy. The virus has barely destroyed enough people for it to be a concern.
Yeah, well, it's a weird virus. You know, it's very political. It respects people who are protesting racism, but not people who are protesting the establishment politics.
It leaves you alone when you're sitting in a restaurant, but not when you're standing or walking.
And it comes out at night, but not during the day. That's why we have to close the bars at 11.
That's right.
It's a very strange virus, and it attacks businesses. I mean, I've never seen a virus like that before in my life.
But
Going on.
We digress.
Cases are rising as more people grow tired of wearing masks and social distancing. Oh, I'm glad you noticed. Suffering from so-called pandemic fatigue, he said Wednesday. Colder weather is also driving people indoors where the virus can spread more easily. A nationwide lockdown would drive the number of new cases and hospitalizations down to manageable levels while the world awaits a vaccine, he told Yahoo Finance on Wednesday. Which, why are you talking to Yahoo Finance about a virus when you're a doctor? Because apparently this virus attacks money as well.
You know what? I'm not in a pandemic fatigue. I'm in a government fatigue. I am fatigued by the organization known as government.
That is a fact. Quote, we could pay for a package right now to cover all the wages, lost wages for individual workers, for losses to small companies. Yeah, because that went so well before. To medium-sized companies or city, state, county governments. We could do all of that, unquote, he said.
We
Quote,
could do all of that, okay.
If we did that, then we could lock down for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, so, I mean, beyond the fact that none of those people should be talking on what they're talking on.
Right.
Money is not magical. You can't just take dollar bills and lay them on a table and say an incantation and then now you have a turkey.
Well,
you have to pay someone else to grow you a turkey and kill it and freeze it.
Well, what if I get the best witch doctors in the entire Federal Reserve to say the incantation?
They have yet to. If they could find out a way how to just manifest resources, they'd have killed us all a long time ago.
It sounds like this guy is delusional of the highest level, and he should probably just start reading some economics because he doesn't understand finance or economics in any way, shape, or form. For being a doctor, he seems pretty dumb.
Well, sadly, most people are incredibly dumb about economics. Not least of whom the ones who have studied the crud out of it. But you know, he knows all about the money gland. You know, it's right next to your. It's under the.
Oh crap, guys! I forgot to water my money trees. Darn it!
But yeah, okay, yeah, it would save the economy. Really, it would save the economy to stop people working.
It would save the economy to stop the economy.
Yes. We must save the economy by halting everything
economic. It's like when your
economic.
computer's broken and you turn it off and turn it on again.
So the way that I like to fix my computer is with a small nuclear explosion.
Tinfoil in the microwave?
There you go. I mean, really, that's the equivalent of what you're saying here. Like an entire nationwide, because I mean, having a nationwide lockdown is a terrible idea for a small country. But a country that, I don't know, the entire planet relies on for its currency system.
Dollar is still the global reserve currency, so yeah, that's true.
With 300 and some odd million people, and you're just suddenly going to tell them, just stop. You know, only for a month and a half. Oh, and 4 to 6 weeks. I'm sure it will only be 4 to 6 weeks.
This is the longest 2-week period in this weird time dilation thing.
But we only need 2 weeks, Melanie. We only need 2 weeks. If everybody just locks down for 2 weeks, we will have what's the phrase? We will have
flattened the curve.
That's right.
Flatten the curve. Our Father who art sorry, wrong one.
Our curve who are not flattened. My flabber
Hollow
is gasted.
be thy promises.
My flabber is very gasted right now.
Yeah. Just wow. Well, you see, This being the longest 2 weeks ever, if we just on top of that add 4 and 6 weeks simultaneously, then we will make a time hole collapse, and that will give us all turkey by Thanksgiving.
Okay, on a semi-serious note, in the history of money, there has frequently been a thing referred to as we'll call it jubilee. I believe that is the term that is used. And this is generally a period of debt forgiveness. If I remember correctly, I believe these jubilees would happen whenever like a kingdom or, a country of some sort, when, they'd experience problems with money. They're having financial problems. And so they would periodically forgive the debt of their people completely. Just like, jubilee. All your stuff's wiped off.
I'm only familiar with the old Jewish custom.
And then sort of restart their currency, right? Now, if something like this were coupled with something like a jubilee, that is to say, not forbearing, that is postponing your rent payments, your mortgage payments, your interest payments on all your loans, your loan payments at all, period, right? Biden has talked about eliminating the student loan debt, right? Just forgiving that, right? Wiping that out. If they would go ahead and just wipe out everybody's debt, a la I'm trying to think of the movie, Tyler Durden.
Fight Club.
Fight Club, right? Where like they just burned all the documents and nobody was in debt anymore. If they coupled that with, debt forgiveness across the board for the entire country, that might be a really neat sort of a turn it off and turn it back on reboot of the entire system.
Well, the problem with that is that it would wipe out literally all of the money, because 100% of our money is made from debt.
That's true. That is, well, unless you hold on to gold and silver and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yes, absolutely, you are correct. It is all based in debt. I mean, some would argue that money is debt, really.
It's a Federal Reserve note, not a Federal Reserve dollar.
Right.
Yeah, he goes on, my only point was if we are going to keep making restrictions state by state, there's no compensation for the businesses that are being impacted. He added, what we're doing right now is not working. Huh.
Well, it's not.
Well, no, what we're doing right now...
We need to do it faster, louder,
what we're doing
bigger
right now
than it's ever been before.
Is not, we're not working. No, nobody's working. Right? We're not working.
If we can just do what we're doing now more, I'm sure it will start to work.
855-450 free is our number. Third hour of Free Talk Live is coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A new weapon in the fight against COVID-19. I'm Sal Giangrasso, Fox News. The Food and Drug Administration yesterday approved
the emergency use of a second antibody drug to help fight the COVID-19 virus. The drug is intended for adults and children 12 and over who are considered high risk. It's a cocktail of 2 monoclonal antibodies and was designed specifically to fight the virus that causes COVID-19. Tests are continuing, but early results suggest it may prevent people in the hospital and emergency room visits.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. She's running in January's Georgia runoff election, but Senator Kelly Loeffler is quarantining after receiving mixed results from recent coronavirus tests. Loeffler's campaign says she doesn't have symptoms and is following CDC guidelines and informing those with whom she was in direct contact. President Trump's campaign is requesting a recount of votes in the Georgia presidential race, even though state officials certified results Friday. Democrat Joe Biden won the state by a tiny 0.25%, and Georgia law allows a candidate to request a recount if the margin is less than 0.5%. Negotiations continue on a bipartisan defense spending bill.
Congressional negotiations continue this weekend on a bill to authorize more than $740 billion in defense spending. But those talks hinge on only one point of contention, whether lawmakers will order the Pentagon to rename installations that commemorate Confederate leaders. President Trump threatened to veto the annual defense bill if it orders such changes. Both the House and Senate, with veto-proof majorities, have already passed separate versions of the spending authorization containing directives and deadlines to change the names. There are 10 Army posts that carry the names of Confederate leaders. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
A group of Midwestern governors puts out a video on the coronavirus.
As many Midwestern governors announced new coronavirus crackdowns, several have come together.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Governor Andy Beshear.
Governor Tony Evers.
Governor Eric Holcomb.
Posting a video to social media urging people to be careful this holiday season.
Follow recommendations from medical experts.
Getting together with your family via Zoom.
Wear a mask. Take it off when you eat or drink. Then put it back on.
Keep 6 feet apart.
And wash your hands regularly.
Many of the governors continue strict virus mandates amid pushback over what some feel is government overreach. The governors also acknowledging encouraging news of a coming vaccine. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
California is into night number 1 of a month-long overnight curfew to limit the spread of coronavirus. It runs from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. local time and could be extended past the current December 21st end date if the infection rate isn't curtailed. And if you
According to locals waiting for a 66 bus in downtown Chicago last night, a young couple was making out in the passenger shelter like they were in Paris or something. Onlookers spoke to reporters about the pair, who carried on their passionate embrace for over 20 minutes, as if they were in some sort of goddamn candlelit bistro tucked away in Montmartre.
It's been almost a half an hour and they're still going at it. It's like they think they're sitting on a sun-dappled picnic blanket in the Tuileries Gardens. I mean, where the hell are we? The Champs-Elysees?
The pair's marathon makeout session, which took place in downtown Chicago and not, as frustrated onlookers emphasized, on a cobblestone street in the city of lights, featured intense gazing, deep tongue kissing, and other gestures of affection typically reserved for a couple strolling down the banks of the Seine River.
You know, for a second there, I honestly thought we had all been transported to Parc Monceau.
drinking flutes of champagne on a wonderful summer afternoon while being serenaded by a Parisian accordion player. But no, we're at a bus stop in Chicago.
This is the Onion News Network.
Following the conclusion of yet another day marked by a litany of tedious and unavoidable realities, The Onion spoke with sociologist Dr. Timothy Coghill, who told reporters that the nation would be forced to go through all of it again tomorrow.
As our projections demonstrate, tomorrow, like today, every man, woman, and child in America will wake up and do it all again. All of it, including traffic, the workday, bad coffee, your kid's soccer game, laundry, the struggling economy.
Statistical evidence also showed that the nation would once again endure traumatic childhood memories, Twitter, anxiety, poverty, consumerism, rampant abuses of the legal system,
joint pain, racial inequality, global warming, the steady erosion of civil liberties, violence, loneliness, disease, unresolved intimacy issues, the ravages of age, hunger, sexual frustration, existential dread, the looming specter of death.
For more on this unending story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. I don't sound anything like that other guy. Free Talk Live. No, still not there. Hey, if at first you don't succeed, the heck with it. Throw it out the window. This is Free Talk Live, in case you were wondering why I said it twice and the other guy said it another time. And actually, I think I said it 3 times now.
Is this Free Talk Live?
Is this Free Talk Live?
Are people free to talk?
We
live?
are talking. I guess we're free to talk, except for the FCC rules.
Oh, we're
now
about
we're not
as free
really
as
free.
you can be these days.
But as free as you can be, and we are talking, and this is a live radio program, so I think all 3 of those things describe us currently.
We're on to something.
We are a live call-in radio talk program that's also streaming live on the internet and some satellite-type stations around the globe. So if you want to join us, you can call toll-free 855-450-3733. We'll get to your calls and your thoughts. But in the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Pigless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we have been talking about... What were we talking about, Peakless?
We were talking about not his top advisor, but on his 12-man team, Biden's COVID advisor, who apparently has a bunch of economics opinions.
And we'll get to more of that in just a minute. But first, let's go to Kirby calling in from Indiana. Kirby, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, what's up, Cap?
Hey, how you doing, Kirby?
I'm good. You're on to something with the wiping out all of our personal debt. 10% of our money, since we're fractional, is actually still money. So we can make the banks give us all the gold.
They actually got rid of the fractional reserves a couple of months ago. It's now just infinity money printing.
Yeah, the CARES Act took away
Yes.
it's weird that no one's covering this.
Hang on. Go ahead, Kirby.
So this is just monopoly money now. None of it's real.
It's absolutely monopoly money. I think that's why crypto's going through the roof, is because it is not monopoly money, and this is.
Yeah, it's probably why we got COVID too, because it was about to crash anyway. And I wanted to say, nobody turned me on to a guy who's up there with you all, who runs a thing called Gun Church.
Oh yeah.
And I swear I saw Melanie in one of his videos.
You probably did.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Okay, I'm sure I did, but that is something that should be happening in all 50 states.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that should be happening in every city that has enough space for it.
Well, every state has enough space, and if you get creative and use airsoft like I do, you can get away with a lot of it in the city, in your backyard.
Nice.
But I have an uncle who was employed as Mr. Berger was, and he taught me a few things, and this is the way it should be. because I've been on Make America States Again for the last 6 or 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Something I used to argue against, but these days it seems like it might be the way to go.
I completely agree. I think that making America states again is the only way that we get to a better future than what we're looking at.
Yeah, thank you for the call tonight, Kirby. We appreciate it.
And he's right about everyone should be doing this. I mean, when we found out for sure that legally speaking, police are not required to protect you. Like, that should have been the wake-up call. That should have let everyone know, hey, this is your job.
Yeah, and it's not just it's police, military, FBI, CIA, all of the alphabet agencies. Any agency that you would otherwise believe is an agency to protect you has no legal, obligation to provide you any protection of any kind at any time. So it is disastrous in that respect. And you're right, that should have been the trigger, but it's not. Now, another thing I'd like to point out, since Kirby was talking about it, and how, people should be doing firearms training of their own accord. If they don't have any, you should go out and get it, or find people who are willing to host and, all that kind of stuff. I find it really interesting that public schools used to have firearms training, much like when you went to gym class and you had archery, right? Like, kids used to bring their rifles to school. And then later on, during the school day, they would go out into the back 40 of the school property and with some targets, and they would have firearms training for the kids.
I can think of a number of tragic incidences that would not have occurred if that was still customary.
Yeah. Also, too, just the fact that, having that training, I've always argued that if a government really cared about you and wanted to protect you as a person and as a, quote, citizen, unquote, of their country, and to make sure that your country was never invaded by enemies, foreign and domestic, that they would give you weapons. Because there's no more difficult a place to take over than a heavily armed populace. This is military 101 stuff.
That's a fact.
Right? All the top generals know that the hardest place to overcome is a heavily armed populace. So it would make sense for the government to arm you, or at least encourage you to be armed and be well trained and all of that kind of thing. Of course, none of which our government does, and in fact, they want to take away your guns.
Well, and that's one thing that struck me about the people who are against guns and are really concerned with all of the accidental shootings that occur. It's like, wouldn't you want people to be trained in gun safety? I mean, train children. Here's how you treat this. Here's the way that you respect this because it's lethal.
Yes.
Well, if that your goal was to protect people, because that's how we act as people.
Right.
Like, think of your friends, or if your children are old enough, what would you do to make sure they're protected? Like, you would give them weapons, right?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't try to encourage them to higher security. I mean, and the example you were talking about, you might not be able to just like buy all your friends and children weapons if your children are adults.
Sure.
But that's what you would encourage them to do. It wouldn't be anything else.
And I mean, all these people who are going to extraordinary lengths about, we need to look out for black people. None of them are talking about arming them. And if you look at the history, I mean, this has been mentioned on this show, but if you look at the history, like, it's been racist since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, gun control was made because we didn't want slaves to have guns.
And gun control is also supported largely by rich white leftists. And that is, of all the people that I have ever met, which is some people, that is the most racist group I have ever come across.
Well, and of course, the modern, what we know as police today, evolved from the police of the slave era, where their job was to chase down the slaves who got away.
Yeah.
That was their entire job. That's how we got police today. It evolved from that organization, the slave patrols of old. So, it's all tied back to racism. The organization of government is just horrible. That's bottom line, period.
If you care about people, arm them.
Yeah. If you care about your friends, your family, encourage them to be armed. I've met so many people in my life too, Melanie, where like just the sight of a firearm frightens them. I know a guy who like bought a house. It's his first house. He, a guy had a wife. They had a newborn kid, maybe a year old or two, thereabouts. And their next door neighbor, came home one day and just got out of his truck and, had a gun in a holster attached to his waist. And this guy shows up we work together. He shows up at work the next day and he goes, "Oh my gosh, man, I don't know, man. I live next door to a guy who just open carries." And you could see the fright
and was
in
this
his
here?
face. No, this is the left coast.
Okay.
Well, I've seen that here. I had a client I was working on. I'm a massage therapist, and she was very concerned because she went to the grocery store and saw someone with a firearm strapped to their hip. And I talked to her about it and calmed her down and said, okay, so you know how we have this big opium problem in Manchester? Yeah. Well, you know how we have a really, really low crime rate in spite of the fact that we have a big heroin problem?
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Yeah. And that is why we have open carry, and that really does keep people from going too far.
An armed population is also a peaceful population.
That's a fact.
855-450-3733 is our phone number. If you'd like to join us, we've got more Free Talk Live coming up.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Early Bitcoin wallets cashing in. Is Satoshi back? Investment expert Dr. Doom calls Bitcoin a store of value. Bitcoin Cash forks. Everything's fine. Bitcoin price surges above $18,000 US. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Free Bitcoin Cash when you download their wallet at bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by DJ Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying yeah.
Oh, wait. Wrong song.
Oh, that's You've Got to Fight for Your Right to Party, which, of course, has also been infringed upon in these the great lockdowns of COVID 2020. Courtesy of your government. This is Free Talk Live, if you were wondering. The live talk radio call-in program where you can take control of the airwaves, talk about whatever you'd like. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And you can join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for Forkfest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Forkfest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival. And Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow Forkfesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Forkfest forum. Links to those are found on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021, and we will see you at forkfest.party. Are you guys going?
Oh, I plan on it.
Really?
I am not camping with a toddler. And I might be in the hospital at that point.
Okay.
Depending on whatever.
Well, we will party for you in your absence.
Will you be doing a repeat performance of your concert this year?
I hope to. I haven't spoken with the folks involved. I believe the idea is that we will, maybe not a repeat performance, but a performance, right? We'll change it up a little bit, right? We might do some stuff that we did this year. But yeah, I would love to do another live performance with those guys in FUD. So
possibly a wear a face diaper performance live.
I hadn't thought of that. We would need to find a bass player. If you are in New Hampshire, and you are a freedom-loving voluntarist, anarchist, or libertarian, and you play bass, particularly like rock and roll, heavy metal, punk rock, that kind of thing, let us know because we could use a bass player. Or if you're planning to move to New Hampshire before Forkfest of next year, and you happen to play bass, also let me know because we could use a bass player. That ends my public service announcement for bass players for
bass is better.
The band known as FUD.
Better with bass.
Let's go straight away to your calls and thoughts, if we can. I don't know what's going on. Oh, yeah, here we go. David in New Mexico, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, welcome to the David Olson Show. Tonight's guest again, Free Talk Live, with, once again, special musical guest, L. Captain Kickass. And I do play bass. I play third base. Wait, no, I play first base. I've been to third base. Anyway.
Well, you got 2 kids or 3 kids, so I would imagine.
I would hope so. Yeah. Or it might be sort of, cold, disconnected. That might.
There are states where, you can be legally a father of kids that aren't.
You can have your stuff frozen, and then somebody can be artificially inseminated. So it's possible.
There is that. Wouldn't recommend it.
No.
What's on your mind, David?
I forgot.
Okay, thanks for the call. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, David.
Well, picking up on last night, so the story I was starting to tell was that, and I was listening to you, and you were talking about abusive police officers and how they really tear down society when they go after stupid things like people smoking pot or selling some pot or whatever.
Yeah, victimless crimes.
Yeah. And that tied into, you had a caller call in, and now I lost the train of thought again. I was going to tie it in, so let me just cut to the chase.
Please.
Man, I totally lost it. But you had a guy call in.
I can riff off of that for a second if you want to give your memory a second, because I mean,
I've been smoking too much pot, I guess. But you had a guy call in. And,
your judge is probably listening. You probably shouldn't say stuff like that.
He had no, not him, me. I've been smoking too much pot.
I know, but because your judge is probably listening, you shouldn't say that on the radio.
Which judge? Victor Valdez. Hi, Victor. Victor and I go way back. Actually, I was looking at my court records, and Victor was a judge on a case I had, 8-9 years ago, which actually ties into another story. Richie was coming after me the other day about that I shouldn't be saying something on the radio, I'm sorry, that I shouldn't be getting arrested when I'm trying to get my kids back. And that ties into Judge Victor Valdez, because he was a judge on. I
like your previous brain fart topic better.
The very last case that I had, and that was the case where I was arrested because I was being a horrible human being, because I was filming the Albuquerque Police Department. And when they saw that I was filming them, they arrested me. So, that's the kind of crimes that I was committing.
Presumably that's an illegal arrest. And while I would agree that someone who has ongoing legal issues should not be out getting themselves arrested, there's a difference between getting yourself arrested and getting arrested, right? So that's completely legal. I don't know what the de facto situation is down there, but I could do that all day long and nothing would ever happen to me.
Right, and so let me tell you exactly what happened. I walked out of a bar. I don't know if it was that. I don't think it was that closing time. It was late. It was midnight, basically. I walk out, and when the first thing I see is this woman with a cop car behind her, and the cop car was completely dark. No flashing lights, no nothing. No cop visible in sight. Apparently, he was inside of the vehicle in a darkened vehicle and was not visible. And I'm cutting across this parking lot. And I have to walk right by this woman's car anyway. And when I get by her open window, I'm like, "What's up? Are you pulled over?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, I guess." And I'm like, "Well, what did he pull you over for?" And she says, I don't know." And right then, the cop gets out of his car, walks up behind me, and says, "Can I help you?" And I just say, "Well, no. I was just curious, what was going on here."
Yeah.
And
I'm extorting money from this lady.
Yeah.
What's it look like?
The cop says to me, he says, well, go over there. He pointed towards the sidewalk about 30 feet away. So I did. I turned around and I walked over there. And as I was walking over there, I did what I hadn't already done, and that was pull out my camera that was in my pocket. And when I got over there, 30 feet away from him where he told me to go, I started filming him.
Yes.
You can see on my video that the cops confiscated, and I did get it back. But you can see on the video that the dude is doing his thing at the window of the car he had pulled over for whatever reason. And then he does a double take. When he spots me over there filming him, he does a double take at the camera filming him. And then he immediately turns his head to his little microphone on his little shoulder and calls for backup. And within
that's too bad, David. I'm sorry. 8:55.
Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. DIVI project.org.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon, what wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Yeah, it is Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. As in freedom. You can give a call. Talk about whatever's on your mind. Talk about anything we've been talking about. Or whatever. It's fine. It's cool. It's Free Talk Live. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Bakeless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And I just want to take a minute to thank tonight's amplifier, and that is Chris Cohen. Chris Cohen is a silver level amplifier. That means he contributes $5 a month to our amplifier program, which stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. So for you listeners, if you like the show, you like the topics that we bring up, you like the hosts, that kind of a thing, and you want to help us get on more radio stations, you can do that over at amp.freetalklive.com. We only ask for $5. You can give more. There's a few different levels. There's some different little perks that we give you for your contribution. But if you would like to help spread this message of freedom, please go to amp.freetalklive.com. And thank you again to Chris Cohen. We appreciate you. That being said, I wanted to just sort of change gears here a little bit to an article it's from October, from LouRockwell.com. And if you're not familiar with that website, that's okay. If you like this article, you can go give it a visit. But this is titled, "A Quick Reminder of How Venezuela Ran Out of Food. Does This Look Familiar?" Now, this was penned during the Great Toilet Paper Crisis Part 1 of the United States a couple of months ago, when everybody was, panic buying all the toilet paper and everybody ran out. So it reads, "We'd all like to believe that the United States is on the road to economic recovery and that things are going to get better. Everyone wants to think the store shelves are just a few cargo ships away from being refilled. People want to believe that once 2020 is over, life will return to normal and that we're just having a really bad year." But someone pointed out an article that this author published 4.5 years ago, and when you look at things which happened there, compared them to our situation here, you may notice some uncanny similarities. Here is how Venezuela ran out of food. In February of 2016, Daisy wrote about what an economic collapse really looks like, using Venezuela as an illustration. Venezuela. The article begins when prepping began to be frowned upon by the Venezuelan government. In 2013, many began to suspect that the outlook for Venezuela was grim when prepping became illegal. The Attorney General of Venezuela, Luis Ortega Diaz, called on prospectors to target people who are hoarding basic staples with serious sanctions. Sound familiar? Shortly thereafter, grocery stores instituted a fingerprint registry to purchase food and supplies. Families had to register and were allotted a certain amount of supplies to prevent hoarding. Fast forward to the United States, early in 2020, supplies began to be difficult to find due to the outbreak of COVID-19 and the actual government lockdowns. When folks couldn't find basics like toilet paper, fingers immediately began to point at preppers and hoarders. You guys remember this?
Those darn preppers and hoarders.
Yeah. Everybody's hoarding.
Making it available later on after they've run out of stuff at a higher price.
And, we did see things like people selling on Amazon for 10 times the price, or eBay, that kind of a thing. But supply and demand, that's how the market works. Anyway, the word hoarding is being repeatedly used throughout news reports. They're already working to paint preppers as bad and selfish people. They're already vilifying those who hurry out to fill any gaps in their supplies. They're making it seem like a mental illness to get prepared for what could potentially be a long stretch of time at home with only the supplies you have on hand. This is a frequent trick of propagandists everywhere. Repeat a word often enough, and suddenly everyone begins using it. Everyone begins to believe that the people labeled with an ugly word are terrible, selfish threats to decency.
Like, for example, conspiracy theorists?
For example.
Yeah, so if you're a prepper, then you're not out now buying like 500 rolls of toilet paper and 18 things of peanut butter. So preppers are people who have prepared
in advance.
If you're going to the store now buying everything, I mean, yeah, you're like...
Well, you're a late prepper.
Well, no,
a little late to the prepper party.
Means that you're prepared. So if you think that there is going to be some kind of collapse right now, then you're not prepared. If you think there's not, then you should just be buying regular stuff.
Yeah, some people are more ahead of the ball, right?
And this is not reflective of the market. If we had a market, people would be buying 20 packs of toilet paper, and the producers would be like, "Hey, we could need to raise the price, and maybe we'll make more."
Hey, you know that
but
machine we have making
happens.
Not toilet paper that we could easily make toilet paper?
But they can't raise the price at a retail level. So the manufacturer doesn't, like, the CEO of, Charmin or whatever knows that this is going on. as a person, but the manufacturer does not see that rise in demand because they're not allowed to. So they're not going to produce more.
The dialogue is still in place with people being shamed for large purchases when in fact they're simply getting necessities for a large family. This has happened, right? So, you've got 7 kids, right? Husband and wife, 7 kids. Well, you're going to buy a lot of stuff.
That one has 2 things of toilet paper.
Yeah. A friend of mine with a large family has said she'd have to shop every 2 days with the original limit stores posted to keep everyone in her household well fed, and I assume well wiped as well in this case. We'll continue with more on this, but first let's go to your calls and thoughts. Let's go to Sean in Montana. Sean, you're listening to KINX. What's on your mind?
Hey there. I'm a first-time listener.
Welcome.
Enjoy listening to the show. I don't know anybody's name on the show, but
it's okay.
I'll listen in the future and I'll learn the names later. So
I hope you do.
I like how you guys just give the platform to the callers to talk about whatever's on their mind. And
what's
I've
on your
had
mind?
something that's been on my what's been on my mind for a while is time travel.
Mm-hmm.
That theoretic physicists will claim that it's possible or it's not. And my theory is nobody will ever know if it's possible until somebody's done it. So I don't really listen to the theoretical physicists about grandfather, I can't remember what it's called, the grandfather paradox.
Paradox, yeah.
Yeah, the last time I looked into it, the most compelling evidence I could find was that you could time travel back to when the device was created, but not beforehand.
So that's interesting because I have a very interesting spin to throw at you.
Okay, go for it.
Donald Trump is a time traveler.
Donald Trump is a time traveler. What makes you say that?
Yes, he is. Well, there are 3 books written over 100 years ago by an author named Ingersoll Lockwood. And one of the books is called The Last President, and 2 of the other books are called with similar titles, Baron Trump's Marvelous Adventures Underground. And there's an illustration of Baron Trump, and it's a spitting image of the young boy. And there's a lot of eerie coincidences with what's been going on today. For example, in The Last President book, there are writers, anarchists, socialists that are claiming that their guy Brian won. And they stormed Trump Tower on 5th Avenue, and it says it in the book. And Brian and Biden rhymes. So that's a pretty eerie coincidence. It also has a politician with the same last name as Mike Pence, spelled the same way, called Lafayette. His name is Lafayette Pence or something like that. Now, I want to just...
Hey, Sean, can you hold on?
Yeah.
We're coming up on a commercial here.
Hold on. We'll bring you back. Stay right with us. 855-450-3733. More coming up.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Attention business owners body slammed by overwhelming debt. If your business is in trouble, hassled by creditors, if you're frustrated, finally fed up with big business bailouts while your business has been left for dead, please listen close. There's a brand new fast-track bankruptcy. Some have even called it the biggest small business bailout in American history. designed for individuals and their businesses. And look, almost no one knows about this yet. My attorney wasn't even aware of it. The truth is, beating the system has never been easy because it's rigged in a sense against the little guy. But here's the jaw-dropping news nobody's talking about. They've literally just changed the system so that you can beat it, but only if you understand how the new game has to be played. Find out if you qualify at pocketsoflight.com. This government-backed small business repair program is still legal, but may not be renewed after the election. Fight back fairly, fight back ethically at pocketsoflight.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Masternode platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It is Free Talk Live, the Sunday night edition. I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass, and in the studio with me tonight, it's
Peakless Mountaineer
and Melanie.
And our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. There might be enough time to get you on the air if you call now. Let's go back to Sean, who's calling from, I believe, Montana, listening to KNX. Sean is of the opinion and has posited a theory that Donald Trump is a time traveler.
Yes.
So, Sean, we were discussing here in the studio while you were listening to our sponsors about our level of knowledge on time travel and theoretical physics. And one of us has spent some time. So would you just sort of recap for our listeners who might just be tuning in why you believe Donald Trump is a time traveler?
Well, I was just explaining about these three books that were written over 100 years ago. They used to only exist in old libraries, and then they've been reproduced. But it's not just those books, and I'll save the conversation for later if you want, but it's also tied, how he got the time machine ties into his uncle, John Trump, who was an MIT professor who was asked by the FBI to investigate Nikola Tesla's blueprints for a time machine.
Just real quick,
The FBI does waste time.
Just real quick, what were what was the three books?
The Last President and two similar titled books called Baron Trump's Marvelous Adventures Underground when he goes to Russia.
And are these penned by the same authors?
Yes, Ingersoll Lockwood.
Okay.
Well,
it was like a lawyer and I don't know. He was a lawyer and something else, novelist. I don't know.
Well, and it wouldn't be the first time that a book came out with an eerily similar prediction to what ended up happening. The Wreck of the Titan came out 14 years before the Titanic sank, and it pretty much describes exactly that. Like the build of the ship is exactly like the Titanic. It's called the Titan. Yeah, just a lot of eerie similarities there.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean was saying that it's more than just the books, right? You have other things that point you in this direction. Go ahead.
Well, Nikola Tesla even said himself that he created a time machine and he got locked inside of it, or while he was using it, and somebody flipped a switch to turn it off, or it would have killed him. And when John Trump, as a theory or a story goes, realized that the blueprints for his time machine was possible, it could work, he didn't want the government to realize that they had a time machine that could work, and he kept it to himself. Long story short, he rebuilt it, and he chose his nephew, somebody he could trust, to go into the time machine to stop some laser weapon, the Doomsday laser weapon. I don't remember. Death Ray.
Okay.
From Nikola Tesla building the Death Ray or something, because it was too much power for mankind or something like that.
Yeah.
He definitely was working on a Death Ray, although it looks like he did pretty much what Leonardo da Vinci did with his weapons of war in making parts of the blueprints that made the whole thing not work.
Well, I just think it's interesting. You've got two theories there that back it up, and those books are just so on point with what's been going on. I mean, it talks about Trump Castle, which is Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, the Trump Hotel, right where Trump Tower stands.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's a mind-boggling.
How does this tie into theoretical physics, though?
Well, theoretic physicists probably would say, well, because of the grandfather paradox, time travel is not possible, or we go into an alternate parallel universe where, you didn't change the past, you just went into a different universe, and there's many universes out there.
Right, the multiverse theory.
So and you know what else? Back to the Future, Part 2 shows Biff as Donald Trump. And he's got the crazy hair like Donald Trump.
I've heard that Biff was actually modeled on Donald Trump, and that originally the creator had made it as a dystopian nightmare should someone like that ever become a political figure.
Wow.
And you see all the chaos and violence in the streets in Back to the Future too, and it's like getting a liberal's perspective on who Donald Trump is.
That is interesting. Any other evidence or things that point you in that direction, Sean?
Well, there's a lot to say, but I don't think I can do it on the show.
All right. Well, we appreciate the call tonight. I don't know enough about theoretical physics or, what happens with people predicting things in literature. Your thoughts?
Well, my first thought, honestly, is that so hypothetically, if this guy actually did sort of see, and sort of, I mean, he didn't get the name exactly right on the opponent and all of that. If this guy did sort of see what was going to happen in the future, that actually wouldn't be time travel. That would be a form of clairvoyance.
Mm.
So, to see the future is, it's certainly something that's been claimed by a lot of people over time.
Well, and wouldn't clairvoyance, though, also be potentially looking forward into another universe?
Indeed.
Right, so you might get...
Well, if you go with the multiple universes there.
Right, that's where I'm going with this, is that if you had that clairvoyance and you saw something that resembled what you thought was the future, but you've gotten these details right, perhaps these details were correct for what the person saw in their clairvoyant vision. They're just not correct to this specific universe. So they're just slightly off, right? They saw a different, a 0.0005 different percent universe than what we're in currently, right? They saw a different universe, and so that's why some of these details are off, but eerily similar.
Definitely could be.
Yeah. Melanie?
Yeah, I mean, no one calling in is really qualified to speak on theoretical physics. Not only have I not studied theoretical physics, I don't think I'm smart enough to understand theoretical physics.
I know I'm not.
Very few people are. That's like a 140 to 160 kind of deal. So it's like what happens when something in science has a cool name.
Yeah.
And so news outlets and just random bloggers would be like, well, I like the word quantum. Here's why quantum physics proves that the universe loves me. And it's like, quantum physics says no such thing. You don't even know what quantum physics is.
Well, there was a
so
famous
stop.
quantum physicist that specifically said that if you think you understand quantum physics, you're wrong. And like he ended up, I think, getting a Nobel Prize for quantum physics. So like, really, it's sufficiently complicated that even if you are one of those 160 IQ people, it's still pretty rough.
Yeah, and some of these fields are new, not quantum physics so much, but
relatively
lots
new.
of things in physics are new. So some things just cannot be watered down to mass consumption and maintain their substance. It's like most people aren't that smart. I'm sorry. Like, you don't need to be. Go do whatever it is you can do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if it's good when you don't understand something for you to go, hey, guess what? I don't understand this. I've never studied, et cetera, and so on. But to your point about making up words, science fiction does this a lot.
Not making up words, stealing words that have actual meaning.
Right.
And then just sticking them in your gibberish article.
If I use this sciencey word, then whatever craziness I'm saying will also sound
right.
sciencey.
You had mentioned Doctor Who earlier this evening, and they do a thing called reversing the polarity. Right, this is found throughout, I think, every iteration of Doctor Who, no matter who the character is playing the Doctor. They do this thing where they get into some sort of a thing that they have to get out of, and they're trying to tech their way out of it, and they go, quick, reverse the polarity, and then they reverse the polarity, and that. But reversing the polarity, it isn't, yeah.
But I don't have a problem with that because Doctor Who is presented as fiction.
It is, true. Yes.
It's not, if it was presented as something that was real, I would have to take issue with that.
Yeah. But Doctor Who's not the only science fiction that does that. It's done throughout science fiction.
I'm not sure you're right with that because like some devices work with the polarity reversed. Like if you take a flashlight, very, very simple.
Yes.
And you put, as long as you put both of the batteries in backwards, it works.
Yes.
There are other things that are complicated enough that, I mean, I think that would be what reversing the polarity would be. And some things are complicated enough that doesn't work.
But they take this and they use it as a substitute for actual technology that would exist, right? Because it gets them out of so many. And there's even a bit where like two doctors meet each other and they point their sonic screwdrivers at the same thing, and one guy, and they're like, we'll reverse the polarity, and they go, wait, you're reversing the polarity, we're confusing the polarity is what we're doing. So they make a joke out of it during the episode. So is Donald Trump a time traveler? Heck if I know. If he is, you'd think that he'd have gone back and won himself the election, right?
I mean, maybe he did. We don't know yet.
Dun, dun,
That's true. That's true.
We do elections really weird.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs. Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have two cats, Dixie and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives. DINOVITE.com.
I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cat to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life. You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible with